All right. Welcome back to the Run.down post-game show here on the Strickland YouTube channel. If you're listening to this today after the Strickland Podcast Network, Knicks win in a nail biter, 105 to 103. To what some are calling, the Hartenstein game.
I said, don't call it.
No, he's right. It's the Hartenstein game.
It is. This is honestly his best outing as a Knick. He's getting like the post game interview in the studio over here, on MSG. So
If you didn't call it the Hartenstein game, you'd have to call it the Deuce McBride game. So
The Deuce McBride Tween has a game.
yeah, but
I'm okay with that.
yeah, I mean, Knicks, they got off to a hot start with Julius Randle leading the way. Had about 17 in the first quarter, about
Yes.
5 or 6 threes. It
Mhm.
was. And he set the tone offensively for the team. Just making quicker decisions, I thought. And yeah, I mean, he led the way to start the game, and I mean, he was honestly the most consistent offensive player on the team today. A lot of guys, they kind of fluctuated in and out of when they were scoring or when they wanted to be aggressive. But yeah, I mean, this was a really tough game. There were stretches where I thought the Knicks were going to lose, especially in that third quarter, the beginning of the third quarter, where they got down 8, and it looked like, oh, classic Knicks. Here comes the 5th straight loss. But no, they turned things around at the end of the third quarter. So shout out to them for showing some resilience, because I called them out on Twitter. I said they didn't have any balls. Hopefully someone on the team saw that and took that to heart.
yeah, they were out there. They're like, FBL_Cam been talking mad shit about us on Twitter.
But yeah, I mean, how'd you guys feel about this game? Let's start with Jeff.
I thought it was a really good all-around performance. I felt very strongly that if the Knicks lost this game, it would have really left a bad taste in my mouth, because I wouldn't really have known what to say, because I really felt like everyone except for Brunson played well. I know there are going to be qualms. I'm not saying they played their best. I'm just saying that, on the whole, I liked the effort that pretty much everybody gave. And we've seen Brunson games where he hasn't had it going and he's commanded the ball more and he's tried to force it. And even Brunson, I felt was aware that okay, Okoro was a really bad matchup for me. I'm just going to kind of get out of the way. He only took 13 shots. So even though it was a bad Brunson game, I didn't even think it was his worst game, so we couldn't have even pinned it on that. So I'm really glad that the Knicks pulled it out, even though they had some brutal offensive possessions down the stretch and their defense had to, save the day. But I mean, obviously we'll get into the individual efforts, but on the whole, I feel really good about the win, and it's just refreshing to see after, a couple of really poor games.
Schwinn.
I thought, first of all, Randall, the shot making obviously is what it was. But even through the last couple of games, I actually thought his defense has been good. And tonight, I thought his defense was fucking awesome. I really can't say enough about how good he was on defense. I thought he set the fucking tone with how physical he played. Even with he made he had 8 threes, so 24 of his 36 points were from outside the arc. But I thought he played with the physicality on both ends. That really helped make up for the fact that the Knicks were, look, you play Mobley and Allen, you're out, you're giving up size. It really doesn't matter that's the case for most teams. But I thought he absolutely destroyed Mobley, to be honest. And that's the second time this year.
Hey, Schwinn, can I jump in here for 1 second? I'm sorry.
No, you can't.
Can we be done with the I don't think there's any conversation anymore as to who has been the Knicks' best and most important player.
Yeah,
early
Trevor Keels.
It's what?
Trevor Keels.
I vote for Speed.
I just think that the Knicks. I just think that early on there was the shiny new toy syndrome, and the Knicks were kind of overachieving, and it was oh, well, they underachieved last year and they're overachieving now. It must be because we have this new toy. But every single number, every single impact stat points to just Randall being far and away the Knicks' best player. And like,
Yeah,
I think
I agree.
that acknowledgement. So yeah, back to you.
And I agree. I've kind of like, I think there's something about like I think if you're just talking about you have one possession, who do you trust to go get a bucket for you? I'm still giving and I know Brunson's had a rough little stretcher, but like I'm still going with Brunson over anybody else on the team. But the game is 48 minutes. There's more to basketball than that's one situation, right? Like if you value that situation too much, that's how you come to the conclusion that like Kyrie Irving is better than Steph Curry, right? So we don't do that here. We like to strive for proper analysis, even though I usually fail. But like I think Randall's been awesome, and that's accounting for the fact that, to be honest with you, I thought for the first, I don't know, 15, 20 games of the season, I didn't think he was playing that well. I thought his offense was good, but that he was still doing all the same bullshit that we had become accustomed to last year on defense and and rebounding. But I really think the last couple of games here, like he's even taken his game to another level with Mitch out, where I think like you're seeing him make a more conscious effort on the defensive glass, right? He's really rotating at a level that he normally doesn't, and I didn't like some of his like he had a weird thing at the start of the second half where he threw this ridiculous bullet pass to Grimes in the corner, and then he started yelling at Grimes for not catching it. And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about right now?"
And he missed the initial pass. Like
yeah.
Obi would have caught it and just swung it to the corner.
Yeah,
and
he doesn't have that.
That is Randall's downfall. Is he's just not as quick a processor.
Yeah, and I do think some of that is like, I know this is like a thing that people have talked about, but he has small hands. I wonder if sometimes it's hard for him to like catch it and then just swing it immediately. Obi, who's actually really good at that is Deuce. Deuce just throws like one-handed, like he was a quarterback, you can tell. But like I thought, the difference between him this year and last year is like we even saw it in the Toronto game on Sunday, right, where he flips out of Fournier, but like he doesn't let that sink the rest of his performance. He's not letting that get into his effort, or he's not holding that grudge, right? He's not holding that kind of negative energy. So I think like, it's fine. You have an outburst, fine. But like he's getting over that. And to be honest, like he turned the game in that third quarter. He was the best player on the floor all night, and he turned the game. Like they looked dead in the water. It was 69-61, and it just felt like RJ, I don't know what the hell he was doing to start the second half. Brunson was just like hanging out in the corner. Like, I don't know what the hell that was.
Vibing.
Yeah, it was weird. And then Grimes was like, it's like, dude, if I have to see this guy, like, I understand he wants to show that, like, hey, I can attack the rim and stuff too, but like, bro,
I worked on shit in the summer.
Yeah, like, dude, just fucking shoot the three. All right, like, enough. But like Randall really was the reason that game turned around, and kudos to Quickly and Hartenstein specifically off the bench, who I thought were fucking awesome tonight, both of them, especially Hartenstein. And I will always fuck Hartenstein. Like I don't really give a shit about him, but like I'll always just give Quickly way more credit than him. But tonight, like Hartenstein was awesome, so he deserves his flowers for one night anyway.
The spider stopper.
Yeah, he was fucking dude. RJ had two big stops on Mitchell down the stretch, but one of them Hartenstein kind of finished it off.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously he has that play down the stretch. He had one classic Hartenstein play at the end of the game where he's like that missed free throw, and then he's just staring at the ball in the corner. And like, I'm like, dude, Mobley is built like a fucking, like he's got
toothpick.
Yeah, he's going to get around you and just reach over there with his big ass arm and save that shit. And it was so stupid because he clearly could have grabbed it. But luckily the Knicks still got the win. And actually, just real quick to mention, that stretch was really funny because it was like, I think Garland missed the free throw, and that was after he had made that floater that Randall, for no apparent reason, just like hit him in the hip, like at the very end for no reason. But they found a way to win. And I gotta say, like that and one Garland got in the last minute was bullshit. And then like to go from that to whatever was going on with Randall on that play under the rim, where it's like Mobley is like on his back and Jared Allen's like fucking dry humping him. Like it's just called like I understand guards are always going to get a little like you're going to call fouls for them quicker because they can't take the same contact. But that was just crazy. So look, I think the Knicks played really well. They had a hot shooting 3-point game, so thank God they won this. But they only gave up 10 defensive rebounds tonight on 47 missed shots by the Cavs. Like, that's what they need to do. That they can't. You cannot win the games they've been playing where it's like not only are you giving up a high percentage of shots, but you're not ending possessions. So this was a great all-around team performance, and I just want to make sure that everybody knows that Tyrese said that OB can't do anything off the dribble, and
Tyrese said he can't do anything with more than
he can't shoot
more than one dribble.
Yeah, and he can't shoot. And he's he's shooting 37% from three now. So
Tyrese is the only one who's been on the Randall train the whole time, and somehow he's taking L's in this post game
for whatever reason. Because that Randall performance tonight was sexy.
Awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, like, what can you say more about it?
You just manually changed the light to red?
Yeah.
It was sexy.
Is that for like when you're angry?
The kids will get it. Anyway, but yeah, like, good performance from Randall. I think you guys really said all that needs to be said about that. I want to talk about Grimes more because, like, I get it. The closeouts are nice, but like what we've seen with Bullock and what we see with Fournier is that despite the flaws those guys have, after Randall yelled at Bullock, that dude was willing to put up like 10 threes a game. Same thing with Fournier, where like Fournier is willing to take those shots.
Well,
Randall gives him something off the catch, and I think that's a big part of Randall's game.
And to your point, I think he's like, look, I still don't know. I mean, I know why he was yelling at Grimes, but it was like it was probably like the one instance where he should have just been yelling at himself. But like, to your point, I think he's trying to, like, you can see multiple times a game, he goes over to Grimes and is like fucking shoot it, like you can see him and he's like trying to get him going with that DHO stuff. So like, yeah, I mean, I think you're definitely on point there that he is trying to get Grimes to like be that guy.
Yeah, like, I think Randall needs that guy, especially for this offense. I think this offense needs that guy because, Randall sets his screens, and we can debate about like how effective those screens are. But like, a big part of his game is being able to like potentially do stuff up the catch, and Grimes can leverage that passing more than anybody else he's ever played with. So like, if Grimes is willing to take those shots, I feel like that's a really good two-man game with the DHO. I just want to see him take those shots. And if he's not going to take those shots, I think there is grounds for the idea that Quickly should be starting over him. Because I think Quickly's more willing to take those shots, but Quickly's also able to do more stuff as a ball handler next to Brunson. He's also just a fucking alien. So like, that's more of a reason to play him. But yeah, like, Grimes needs to be able to take those shots. I also want to talk about Deuce as well, because this was probably the best Deuce game in like a month. And it wasn't because he scored. It was because he looked decisive and aggressive, and he was able to like penetrate. Like, he looked smooth. And I think Deuce's game is best when he looks smooth. If you watch his G League games, if you've watched his West Virginia games, like, when Deuce is decisive, he looks a lot better. And I feel like he's been panicking too much. And tonight, even though the shot wasn't falling as well as you liked it to be, like, he was decisive. He got 3 free throws tonight. Like,
I actually think even I mentioned this on the pod with Stacey, but I actually think the last couple of games, I know he's got to eventually like make shots. But I think even the last couple of games before this, he's been pulling on shots. When he's like getting the ball on swings, he's not like, oh my God, what do I do? Like, he's actually just putting up the shot. So look, I don't know what's up with him, like, in terms of just because this guy goes down to the G League and for like he's fucking Michael Jordan down there and he can hit free throws, and then he comes up here and it's like he doesn't want to shoot the ball half the time. But yeah, you're like he was aggressive, and then it's so weird with him where it's like it feels like when he feels confident offensively, it fuels his defense, because I thought his defense had dropped off the last couple of weeks too. And the last few games, especially tonight, way better, way better.
Like, he felt like Deuce this game, where like he was in the passing lanes, he was causing havoc. He gave Mitchell trouble. He gave Garland trouble as well. It won't reflect on the box score, but again, plus 13, second highest plus minus on the team. That's not from Quickly. Like, Deuce has a role in this team as a defensive pest. If he can get to the point where he's like hitting his threes at a reliable clip, that's something you can build off of. But yeah, it really depends on him, like just playing aggressive and not being scared of the moment or the ball or anything else. And if he can play like that, like he deserves a rotation spot already. But like if he can play like that, that's why he gets these minutes. That's why he's in the rotation right now. That's why they bench Cam for him essentially, and bench throws for him. So I would like to see him playing more decisively like that, and I would like to see him continue to make those strides.
I think the G League thing, like I agree the free throw part is weird. He shouldn't be missing free throws. He's too good a shooter to do it. But as far as like just like the confidence and the effectiveness pulling threes, I just think when he plays in the G League, he develops such a rhythm because he's the guy. So like most of his shots are coming off the dribble, you know, and like that's what he spent his whole life doing. That's his comfort zone. I know he had some decent catch and shoot numbers at West Virginia, but for the most part, a guy like Deuce has always had the ball in his hands. So, like, that's when he's going to cook. But on the Knicks, even with the bench, he's not really going to have the ball in his hands very much. So it's sort of he's catching off the swing or he's shooting off the swing. And I just don't think he's as comfortable doing that. And I feel like his chance of hitting whatever high median or ceiling that he has is going to live and die off of his ability to grow as a catch and shooter, because I don't think he's ever going to get the opportunity to like run an offense, you know, like it was the same thing that, I mean, this is a totally random name, but like all those people love that guy, Sharif Cooper. And like, they always talked about what he could do with the ball in his hands. And I would just be like, dude, he's never going to fucking have the ball in his hands. Like, why would any team want Sharif Cooper to have the ball in his hands? Like,
China's going to like him having the ball in his hands.
And so, like, yeah, I know Deuce isn't as good as Cooper was in college, like, offensively. But the point is kind of the same, in my opinion. Like, as good as Deuce is on defense, he just has to be a better shooter off the catch, or this is what he's going to be.
All right. Let's talk about our favorite player at the Quickland, Emmanuel Quickley. 9, 5, and 6, 1 steal. I think the stat line doesn't even begin to tell the story of the game tonight. I mean, the defense was incredible on both guards. I think he was guarding Garland, Spida, and he guarded Levert at times, and I thought he did a great job on all three of them, stifling them on their drives, making them take tough shots. I mean, at the end of the game, Quickly got switched onto Spida a couple times, and he just made tough baskets, but like they were like really hard shots for anyone to make. And I thought Quickly did a good job of staying with him, no matter what. And you know, this is another case of why Tyrese brought up, Quickly potentially starting. I think Quickly offers, like, Grimes. Yeah, he is a little bit of a bigger body than Quickly, but like I think Quickly would still do as good, if not even a better job, at the point of attack on defense in a starting role. So, you know, that's also something to think about as well. But yeah, I mean, I guess how do you guys feel about his performance? I'd assume that you all agree that it was a pretty good performance from him.
I was glad that I didn't see any like overreactions to Mitchell hitting a couple shots over him, like, because that's just how Twitter works.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just another sign to me that I feel like all of Knicks Twitter and all of just Knicks fans have really starting to understand just how important this guy is to the team. Because, like, I promise you, if this was a year ago, there would have been guys that were just like, oh, everybody told me Quickly's the truth, get Mitchell. You know, like, there would have been people showing up on Twitter saying shit like that. But, like, there were 3 possessions he guarded Mitchell, and every single time he stifled Mitchell's first take, 2 of them should have ended in turnovers. He forced the ball out of Mitchell's hands, and 2 of them ended with Mitchell taking tough contested step backs. So, yeah, I mean, his defense was excellent all game.
Not if you ask Clyde. Clyde was like, on one of them, he was like, you got to not let him shoot the 3. And I'm like, he's like, you can't come inside the line. I'm like, he was literally driving? I don't, like, what do you want him to do there?
Yeah. And
Clyde's dementia be acting up sometimes, you know.
Clyde gets so mad at Quickly and Grimes' defense, and then, like, we'll just say nothing when Brunson's just kind of like,
chilling.
Yeah, just chilling.
Folks.
Now we got some NBA action.
God,
serendipity.
let's come on. Clyde's the man. He can do whatever he wants.
It's fine. Clyde's just he's
Yeah,
like
I
80
know.
years old. He's watched a lot of terrible basketball up close. It's fine.
And then he like read a couple. He's like, Clyde, you just can't let that happen, Clyde. You know? Like,
I want to say one thing about quickly that because everybody knows, anybody who watches this, and all four of us are pretty much on the same page with quickly. So I just want to add some maybe different perspective than just overwhelming adulation for him. His tendency he is just always trying to draw contact. And there was one fast break when he really pushed it. Like he was like, oh, I'm just going to drive into somebody and they're just going to blow a whistle. And he gets a good amount of fouls called, but he doesn't get fouls called to the point where I just think he needs to cut that back a little bit. Because first of all, I think the refs are just going to stop being like, they're just not going to call it at the frequency that he wants. And the result is going to be a lot of ugly looking shots. That's like the only criticism I can offer. Sometimes like his offense can be a little ugly when he like just, instead of just making the easy pass or trying to get an easier shot, he like throws his body into somebody and tries to create contact, and they're just not going to give you that call every time.
I thought he got fouled on that, to be honest. Like I thought he definitely got fouled on it. LeVert looked like he raked him across the arm. But like I actually used to have a bigger problem with that, but this year he's actually like he'll take the contact and then make the shot. So he's kind of forcing like and one calls because they're like, well, fuck, like he made the fucking shot and he clearly got like he got hit. So I guess I got to call this. He had two of those today, maybe, or one? I don't remember. But he's been consistently getting that call, and I don't care what he's shooting from three right now. Like the biggest thing for me was he was not taking those shots to start the year, and now he's back to just pulling. Like not, so he definitely loves the fact that he can score twos now really well because he loves to like pump fake and go in. The thing is, he's actually scoring really well inside, so I kind of like, I don't know. I guess I'm fine with that, and it's better than fucking Grimes' shit, where Grimes will just like, he's just like runs as fast as he can to the rim, and then he's like, shit, there's 2 7-footers here. What do I do?
And he always tries to avoid contact. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Is Grimes always goes for the up and under.
Yeah.
And then just one quick comment to your point, to reinforce your point, Schwinn. Quickly has a career low 3-point percentage, 32.7%, and by far a career high true shooting percentage, 55.7%, because of his twos. So yeah,
his twos are. I mean, I think he's at like 51.6 or something percent on twos this year. And like, look, I think I'm sure anybody that follows me on Twitter or listen to any of their podcasts knows that like Quickly is pretty much my favorite player on the team. But like, the dude just helps you win basketball games. Like, I don't really care what position you want to call him. Does he have flaws? Absolutely he has flaws. But like, that guy you put him at point guard, he'll find a way to help you win games at point guard. You tell him to go defend Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, he'll find a way to do that and help you win ball games. You tell him to go guard it. He was guarding like Lamar Stevens and like these bigger wings at some point in this game. Yeah,
he was guarding Evan Mobley.
Yeah, he's just, that guy just fights, and like at the end of the day, like I don't know, like I really don't. I don't like doing this thing where it's like, oh well, Quickly should start and RJ should come off the bench. Oh, Art Quickly should start and Grimes should come off the bench. I don't really care. Like I think we need all three of those guys. But like there is something to the fact that I think Quickly is not just limited to those guys that he's kind of fighting for minutes with, but just looking across the team, like he's got a knack for making winning plays consistently, and he wins margins based on his hustle, based on his determination, his like willingness really just to like compete. Which like, look, I love RJ, but let's be real, like RJ is 6'6", 230, and half the time on defense he might as well be 6'1", 180. Like he has, he just doesn't. I just don't think he has any idea of how to like use his body defensively. And I think it may have started last year when we played Miami and Butler just kept like drawing fouls on him. And I feel like ever since then he's just like has no concept of how to use his body anymore on defense. And then you compare that to a guy like Quickly, who's like he is 6'3", 195, and he is basically playing sometimes like he's giving up 20, 30 pounds in a matchup, and you'll still see a guy struggling to back him down. You'll see him boxing out. You'll see you see that stuff, and he just helps you win basketball games at the end of the day. And that's fine if people wanted to trade him and RJ and a bunch of picks for Mitchell. I get that. But I think the Knicks are still in a better position than they would have been had they made that trade. And I think really all they really should be focused on is you've got these 4 protected picks. You've got 2 dead salary slots, basically, right, with Fournier and Rose. Turn those salary slots with those protected picks into rotation players. Do that. And now you might be in position to start. Now you might actually be in position to load up for a star. But that's a long-term thing. It's just good to see quickly, miss a game and come back and still be in a good rhythm. Because I was worried that maybe every season he's basically, or his last 2 seasons anyway, he started off really slow. So I was worried, maybe that would happen coming off an injury, but not the case. It was really good tonight. And to me, probably our second or third best player tonight.
One more thing to add to what you're saying, Schwinn, about, the winning plays he makes. We have a big enough sample size that I think that we can say confidently he's just the team's 4th best player. He's in over the totality of a season, neither Grimes nor RJ are better than him. And if you want to argue that RJ has to start because size, positional scarcity, and higher long-term ceiling, he was the number 3 pick. Okay, I buy that. I'm fine with that. But at a certain point, your 4th best player can't be capped the way that Quickly is coming off the bench because, his path to 30 minutes, he's not going to play 2 shifts and a half. So his path to 30 minutes is playing 15 minutes straight, 2 straight halves. And that's our 4th best player being capped in that way.
It's insane.
And the thing is that I actually think you could make an argument that because Brunson, Grimes, RJ, and Randall are the team's 4 best engines, if Quickly was starting, it would force Tibbs to be more creative because he would always want at least 2 of them. So it would, in a way, force staggering. And so I think the team would benefit, not just because Quickly's a better player, but because I think it would organically improve the rotations and improve the rotation structure. So I feel pretty strongly that Quickly should just be starting. And yeah, I just wanted to add that.
I would say I actually look. I don't really care. I think he's probably been our 3rd best player this season. I know Brunson's obviously gone on these crazy heaters, but like this is I don't know how to explain this because I think people look, when Brunson plays, Brunson's gonna have the ball a lot in his hands, and he's gonna do a lot of scoring because he's a scorer. That's fine. He's a scorer first guard, and he's fucking really good at it. So that's fine. But I still think people will be like, well, I really don't like the whole oh my God, thank God for Jalen Brunson. Where would we be without Jalen Brunson? We would have 3 wins this season without Jalen Brunson. And it's
unreal.
Man up with Evan Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, and he's obviously been great. He's obviously really helped us win basketball games too. But if Jalen Brunson's not here, you just are gonna be a totally different team. How you play is gonna be different. Fuck, Alec Burks would still be here probably, right? Because we wouldn't have cleared the cap space for Brunson. So you'd still have Alec Burks. You'd have Quickly starting at point. You probably would assign some point guard or something. It's not even worth it to have that discussion. But I say all that just to say yes, Brunson's been fucking great. Quickly's the only guy. He's literally the only guy this entire season from game 1 to now that has consistently brought it on defense. Every single night has been there on defense. You can't say that for anybody else. Not Mitch, as great as he's been this year. Not Mitch. Definitely not Randall. Definitely not Brunson. Fucking sure as shit not RJ. He's the one guy that has brought it and consistently been a plus defensively. And as I feel like I have to point out every single fucking season, when he starts off shooting like shit and everybody's like, oh my God, this guy sucks. He can't do anything on offense. He's regressed, blah, blah, blah. Magically, the team consistently plays better with him on the floor. And they consistently win his minutes, even when he's shooting like absolute shit. So you might not like it. but this is what peak performance looks like. Okay. And Emmanuel Quickley is really fucking good. I think he's probably, again, among one of like the highest plus minus guys in the league.
He is.
If you compare like his numbers the last 2 seasons to guys in a similar, on court rating type shit, he's up there with guys that are like
MVP candidates.
Yeah, stars, superstars. I'm not saying that Quickly's a superstar.
I am.
But nice.
He can be.
Look, I leave the master of hot takes to have the hot take. But like I think, he is a star role player. And I don't think that's like that shouldn't be a particularly controversial statement to anybody that's watching this team consistently. And it's a disservice to him and other guys too, like Grimes and Mitch, I think, specifically, when people say stuff like, oh my God, thank God for Jalen Brunson. Oh my God, thank God for Julius Randle. Like, yes, those guys have been great, obviously. But like there's more guys on this team than those two that are helping us win ball games. And it's okay to give those guys the appropriate credit.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, the Knicks are barely breaking even in Brunson's minutes. After tonight, they're plus 0.2 when he's on the floor.
Yeah, you know who Jalen Brunson plays really well with magically?
Quickly?
Yep. Pretty interesting.
But so they're plus 0.2 when Brunson plays. They're plus 2.1 when Randle plays. So it's not just a starter thing. Like already Randle is starting to, create a gap there. And then when they're off the court, it's an even bigger gap because the Knicks are winning the Brunson off minutes by 4.5 points, which is the second biggest on the team behind RJ. And they're losing Randle's minutes. Or no, they're plus 0.3 in Randle's minutes. Obviously, the only people whose minutes they lose when they're off are Quickly and Mitch, but I digress.
Top 2-man rating is with?
Real quickly.
Yeah. Like it's every year. Like every year. It was last year, right? Where it was like everybody in the team basically went to shit when they played with Julius. And it was like the one guy that had a plus net rating with him was Quickly. And it's like this guy I think they asked Brunson about this. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think they might have asked him something like a week or two ago about, how useful it is that like Quickly can play on ball and play off ball. And
Brunson's better than him.
Yeah. And I mean, look, some of that's probably just him being a good teammate, but like, I mean, he's right. Like the guy is really he's just a really versatile player. And I think that versatility sometimes almost, it's like because he's able to just fill in where needed, it almost hides how good he is at certain things, but he's an awesome player. And there's not a lot of guards that can do that type of shit. Like, if you're talking about like just looking around the league, I mean, who is it? It's like Fred VanVleet. Brunson's really good on and off the ball, but he's not giving you the defense that Quickly does.
I don't think there's a player in the league right now doing what Quickly's doing.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean,
like Drew Holiday is probably like the only comp I can think off the top of my head. But Drew Holiday is doing it in starters minutes, and he's playing next to Giannis.
I don't watch the Grizzlies enough to know, but like, would you say guys like Tyus Jones?
No, because Tyus Jones can't defend.
What about Bane?
Like, he's okay.
I think Bane is like better than what Bane is bringing is more consistent than Quickly just because his offense is so valuable. He's such a good shooter. He's so good off the bounce. He's shooting like 45% from three or something insane, or he was. I don't know if he still is, but
43%.
Yeah, his 3-point shooting is outrageous over crazy volume. But I think what Tyrese is saying is that like if you the versatility thing that you're talking about, Schwinn, is such a good point, and I think this is what Tyrese is saying in terms of I don't think anyone else is doing what Quickly's doing, is that if you take any other play and compound their role, their overall value gets reduced because they don't have like I'm trying to think of a player. Like take Caruso. Caruso is an unbelievable defender, probably better than Quickly is, but that is what he is, like that right now, because he's just not a great offensive player. The Bulls are like 10 points worse offensively when he plays. He's not a great shooter. He can't really do much with the ball in his hands. Quickly can do stuff with the ball in his hands, but if you put him with starters, he can catch and shoot. He can go screen. What were the Knicks doing down the stretch tonight? They were using Quickly as the primary screener every single time. Quickly's value, it doesn't matter what situation you put him in, he's gonna return the value because of the versatility that you're talking about, Schwinn. He is legitimately I'm not going to say one of the 10 most valuable players in the league, but he's one of the most 10 most valuable role players in the league. One of the 5 most valuable.
Easily. Like aside from like maybe Bruce Brown, I'm like, and even still, like, I think Quigley's better than Bruce Brown, but like it's just like versatility.
Bruce Brown is like just weird, dude. He's like a fucking big.
Yeah, he's a
who's
big.
6'1".
He could play like 4 positions. It's weird, but like
Schwinn, he's shooting insane this year though, right?
Like but he like I mean I've watched him enough. Like he's shooting great, but it's like all like spoon fed shit in the corners.
Yeah, that's true.
At the same time though, he should get Nick next year. But like,
God damn it.
Keep it the MLE. Anyway, back to what I was saying.
He got the MLE, didn't he?
He got the taxpayer MLE, so 6.3, okay. And he's a player option. He'll opt out. But like, yeah, dude. Like, Quickly is arguably one of the 10 most valuable role players in the league. Top 3. He's top 3. He's top 3 because like nobody in the league is able to give you the defensive versatility that he does while also giving you like the offensive upside that he does, because he can legitimately give you like Drew Holiday level performances off the bench. Like he can drop 20 off the bench and lock up your best player. Like he'll probably never win 6 man of the year unless he has a crazy like offensive season, but like he should arguably be 6 man of the year just because of what he's doing.
Yeah, he'll never like score enough, because I saw somebody post an article the other day that basically the 6 man a year is just like sort by points per game off the bench.
Oh, that's exactly what it is.
It's always the same thing every year.
Westbrook is winning it this year, so like yeah.
Sadly,
I just want to say this is a kind of a conversation switcher, but Chris Persad, whatever his last name is, I don't know. That dude is a Tibbs troll in the post games. His first question is about Obi, and so after a win, he forces Tibbs to like confront the Obi problem, and Tibbs says, "I like Obi's aggressiveness. He's mixing it up. He's not settling. He's driving the floor. He's shooting the open 3. I like the way he's attacking the basket." 10 fucking minutes, man. Like, you must really like.
I'm sorry. That pissed me off. Hey, you know how I feel about Obi Toppin. I have not shied away from how I feel about Obi Toppin, but that made no sense tonight. Like, he's doing, like, he scored 11 points in 10 minutes. You're telling me that, like, there was a stretch in the third quarter where he could have at least played with Randall, and for some reason, he did not. And then in the fourth quarter, when they had the lead and they were doing just fine, it wasn't like the game's out of hand either. He somehow gets pulled for Randall, and granted, Randall made it work because he was good down the stretch tonight. But like, he somehow gets pulled with like 7.5 minutes on the clock.
It was more than that. He basically played 3 minutes in the fourth quarter,
which is nuts.
Yeah,
like I would understand if Obi was like 4 from 3 and 1 of 7 from the field or whatever. Fine, sure, but like tonight was a night where like you could try to buy Randall rest, and he just did not want to. Maybe he was trying to match minutes with Mitchell, but like. I'm sorry. That's just like
no. What happened is Mobley came in, and Obi gave up 2 drives to him. But like, and which like here's the thing. And I know that me and Tyrese don't agree on Obi, but if Tyrese is agreeing with me tonight on Obi, that's saying something. But like, it's a kind of thing where okay, yes, he got cooked on 2 straight drives, and he should do better, and he should know like okay, I can't let if Mobley puts the ball on the floor. I can't let him go back to his right? Like I have to just sit on his right and make him go left. You can't learn that unless you play through it. And that was a perfect opportunity to let him play through it. Cause like, yeah, it's an 8-point game. It's close, but you still have a little bit of cushion there. Right. Like, and Obi was giving you good offense. And it wasn't just the fact that he made threes. It's like, there's
getting stuff going.
There was an energy to how he played. I thought he did a good job on the glass actually tonight.
Making decisions as always.
Like he played well, and I thought his defense really, even like the Mobley things. Like, look,
Mobley's just bigger than him.
Yeah, and he shouldn't let Mobley get back to his right. But it's not like he was just it was uncontested shots, right? Like
yeah, it's like he wasn't trying or anything.
He had to put it up over Obi, and of course he did. But like, it's one thing when he's got a stretch where he's just no confidence, but those are miserable. But these last 2 games haven't been that. And I'm a little bit more sympathetic tonight to like why he went back to Randall in that situation. It felt like, I mean, this felt like a game like they had to have it. Like they had to get this game. So I'm a little bit more. I'm more sympathetic to Tibbs just being like, "Fuck it, Julius has it going. I'm rolling with him tonight." But like the Toronto game, I mean, look, I think Tibbs coached actually a really good game tonight, and it's weird. I think because the Cavs don't have wings, and because he likes matching Grimes up on Mitchell, it almost naturally leads him to like coach well against them because rotations just make way more sense. Um, but like I thought he coached a really good game. And quick aside, we're a bad matchup for the Cavs. Weirdly, a bad matchup for them.
That's one of the reasons why, like throughout the year, no matter how shitty we've played, I've always said that if we end up in a playoff matchup versus them, I feel pretty confident facing them.
Yeah, I think we are a bad matchup.
They don't have the size. Like they cannot stop Randall. I'm sorry, you can't put Evan Mobley on Randall.
Well, and also they don't have the wings
thin.
either, right? Like that's the other like Toronto's such a bad matchup for us because they have like 7,000 6'8" guys that all bench 380 pounds, and it's like we don't have guys that can match up with them. But they all they have are guards and bigs, and like that's all we have. So it's great. But I was gonna say like. I thought he coached a really good game today, and I'm happy he did because I thought the Toronto game was arguably one of his worst coach games of his 2.5 years.
So glad I missed that one.
Yeah. So
holy shit.
So like, if I'm gonna kill the guy, I think he deserves credit when he does a good job, and I thought he did a really good job tonight.
All right, before we get into comments, I do want to get into the ad read. So before we
Sam, can I just say one thing about about the Obi thing before we move on?
Go ahead.
I just think the thing that bothers me the most about it is with Obi, it's always about the micro. So when Obi does one thing wrong, all Tibbs sees is that one error and how it can hurt them if it's extrapolated. And so he sees Mobley cook Obi on back-to-back possessions, and he's like, if I don't make a change right now, what's the worst that could happen? When Randall makes a mistake, it's all about the macro. It's all about what Randall gives the Knicks on the whole. And on a night like tonight, when the Knicks are literally 22 points better when Obi's on the court versus Randall's on the court, he should get some of that micro benefit or macro benefit of the doubt. He should get the respect of, okay, I don't like how it looks every possession, but we're fucking winning his minutes, okay? Like we're destroying the other team in his minutes. There has to be an intelligence and an understanding of that. There has to be, okay, we're literally winning at over a point a minute when this guy's on the court. That is an elite rate. It doesn't matter if I don't like the micro of that one possession. I'm sorry, that's not an optimal basketball coaching strategy. And I'm not saying that Obi should be treated like Randall. I just think he should be treated better. And I think there's a middle ground here that we need to approach to optimize this team in the short term and in the long term.
Well, it's not going to happen with Tibbs here. So
it's I really do take him at his word when he says like I do think he likes Obi. I just don't think he is like he's just so like it's almost like like Randall's like a security blanket for him, right? Where it's like good or bad or whatever. Like he knows what Randall's gonna do night to night. Like he knows Randall's gonna, he's gonna have like probably 3 or 4 possessions where you're like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? He's gonna take probably 2 or 3 step back jumpers that he shouldn't take, but he's gonna get you 10 to 13 rebounds or something. He's going to maul dudes inside. Like, he just knows. With Obi's a little bit more. Obi's like jazz, right? It's like he's just kind of improvising when he's out there. It's not the same thing. Randall's a little bit more. Exactly. Like, you give Randall the ball 20 feet from the hoop, you know exactly what's going to happen, right? You don't really have to guess about it. With Obi, it's like, I'm going to give him the ball in the corner. Is he going to shoot the 3 or is he going to go try to run a dribble handoff and, like, do other kind of shit? So, it's hard for him, I think, because his nature is he's a control freak, right? So a guy like Obi is really hard for him to coach. And I think actually that's why it has taken him a little bit of time, regardless of how good Quickly is on defense and all the small things he does, to trust him to the degree that he has so far this year. So, it sucks, but I still think they should keep Obi at least to the end of the season and see what they got because look, you drafted the kid at 8th overall. You still need somebody to play behind Randall. And I still hold out hope that at some point at some point in life, Tibbs will do the crazy thing of trying Obi and Randall together at the 3 and the 4. That would be cool.
All right. Let's get into the ad read before we head into comments because we got like a whole bunch of comments coming in. 4 NFL teams, 2 conference championship games, and only a few more shots to win big on the playoffs with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Counting down to Super Bowl 57, new customers can bet just $5 and get 200 in free bets instantly. Not a new customer? You can feel the conference championship thrills with stepped up same game parlays. Take your shot at an even bigger NFL payout and boost your winnings with each leg you add up to 100%. So we got Eagles versus Niners, and we got
Hammer the Niners, baby.
I don't want to talk about it.
Tyrese, we're both in the same boat.
yeah.
Jeff's been on that boat since like week 1 too.
Listen, buddy.
Let's ride.
That was an unnecessary shot. I've been supporting you guys' teams all year. I've been a great friend, and
I'm sorry. I can't not take a shot at Russell Wilson because I've always.
I deal with Schwinn's emo ass when Josh Allen almost gets hurt 8 weeks ago, and now I'm getting strays 8 weeks later. Oh my goodness.
I mean, the way he was passing, he might as well have been hurt. Like, Jesus.
Yeah, just so you don't watch the game, bro.
All right, so we got the Niners and we got the Eagles and we got the Bengals and the Chiefs. I got a rematch of Niners versus Chiefs.
Bengals Eagles is going to be a filthy game to watch.
Yeah, I think Bengals are. I think they're the best team left, which sucks because I would love to watch Eli Apple fail. So hopefully Patrick Mahomes can pull off the upset. But I think the Bengals are the best team left, and then I think the Eagles have the best roster in football. But I don't know. That game's going to be interesting because I think neither of those teams is like neither of those quarterbacks has really had to deal with like playing from behind at all. But that's going to happen to one of them. So I'll be interested to see how that works.
Yeah, but one is an MVP candidate and one is Brock Purdy. Dude, if the 49ers win this game, I
don't want to talk about
the Jalen Hurts disrespect.
I don't want to talk about the Jalen Hurts MVP thing. Otherwise, Stacey's probably going to attack me and be like, "Oh my God, you think Jalen Hurts is the worst player ever?" I'm going to be like, "No, I just don't think he's the MVP. That's all."
That's fine. That's fine. But he's much closer to the MVP conversation than Brock Purdy is.
I don't know about that, man. Brock Purdy just can't lose ball games.
Brock Purdy's got to get done, dude.
The Eagles are gonna. They better stomp. The Eagles are gonna.
They're not gonna stop because the 49ers defense is too good.
And they're studs.
Yeah.
They got fucking monsters everywhere. And then
isn't the Eagles defense like better?
No, it's not. It's not better than the 49ers defense.
The biggest thing with Brock Purdy is, he's just something about him. You just trust him. It's like a lot of intangibles. Coaches
okay. You're being racist. I like it. Cool.
He just gives me Tom Brady vibes. I don't know.
He seems like the type of guy who'd be like first in the gym, last out. Like he's
brings his lunch pail. Gets to work.
Hard hat.
Yep.
I'd really love for him to marry my daughter.
Not a backwards cat kind of guy.
Yeah, but Jalen Hurts, he's just a thug.
Running quarterback.
All right. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code TBPN as you see in the corner of your screen. New customers can bet $5 on the conference championships and get 200 in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code TBPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes or show description for details. All right. Comments. We got a whole bunch that came in. Let's get to it. Chris Bernhard asks, where has this been from iHeart all year?
Blame Tibbs.
I don't know.
I feel like the passing was good tonight, and I feel like he should not have his high as a Knicks should not be 4 assists, which is crazy.
Was that his is tonight is high.
It's his first Forces game since the season opener against Memphis.
And he played like he had to play like
Wow.
he randomly had to play like 35 minutes in the season opener too.
It might have
Yep.
been-
I think it was 40 because they put over.
yeah, I think it was in the 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that's his most assists since the first game of the season.
You know what I realized tonight? Our best mover off of Hardenstein is randomly Deuce.
Yes. Yep.
Yep.
Deuce is the only one who knows how to make that little back cut that Hardenstein's looking for at the top of the key.
I saw
And-
that synergy in preseason between them.
Yeah,
they-
for
they
sure.
have it.
And I hope if they're going to be in the rotation, I hope they play more together, and I hope they develop that more, because somebody pointed out on Twitter earlier today, the opposite, or the juxtaposition of the first unit right now, which is all offense, no defense, and the second unit, which is all defense and no offense. As good as Quickly's been, that bench unit could use an infusion of offense, and Hardenstein being able to make passes like that and get easy looks would be huge for that unit.
Also, I would like to say that they actually played Randall with the bench, and those minutes were huge. There were some moments where like he played with the bench, and then RJ came in the bench, and I just don't like RJ with the bench, but like I like Randall with the bench.
It turns into like this art, like he just calls plays for RJ to like ISO basically and run pick and roll, and it's like, yeah, it sucks. I hate it. It's like it's always better when Quickly ends up running the offense instead of RJ. But wait, you're right. When RJ's in with them, it tends to be like the RJ show, right? So I don't know what it was tonight, but aside from that weird thing with Evan Mobley at the end or down the stretch, like Hartenstein did a really good job of generally like boxing out and grabbing defensive rebounds. And like, it wasn't just him, right? It was the whole team.
Yeah.
And when the entire team is boxing out and crashing the glass, that makes a difference for him, especially because we know this, like that's a weakness of his, right? Like that was a weakness of his last year. It's a weakness of his this year. So you need to protect him. And they did a good job of that tonight as a collective team. And obviously, like you mentioned this, playing Randall with him helped, because Randall was, I mean, again, he was awesome tonight. Even on like defensive glass was great. Obi had 3 defensive rebounds in 10 minutes. Like that's a good fucking solid performance from him on the
Don't
glass.
let the haters hear that.
Yeah,
Quickly
quickly had
rebound.
Yeah, quickly had 5 defensive rebounds. Like it's these. If you're gonna play Hartenstein, you need everybody else to chip in on the defensive glass. And yes, it was nice that Hartenstein himself rebounded better tonight. But the biggest thing is everybody else has to chip in, because we know over a longer minutes load, Hartenstein's not going to be a good defensive rebounder. So other guys got to chip in. That helped a lot. And the other thing is, again, it goes back to the matchups. Like, I just think, like, Jarrett Allen is a really good center. Evan Mobley is going to be a really good big, and he's kind of like snapped out of a slow start to the season and been playing better. But like those guys, they can't really, like, who are they pushing around? You know what I mean? Like, they're not super physical dudes.
No, they're not.
So
They're built
you
like Slim Jims. Like, come on.
yeah, you have to so for this matchup, like, it's a good matchup for Hartenstein, and it's a good matchup for our team. Obviously, as we talked about, like, your 1, 2, 3 is basically Garland, Mitchell, and LeVert, right? Like, because the other, I mean, Okoro's fucking garbage. Rubio,
Dude, he was amazing on defense, though. His defense is amazing.
that's great. If Tibbs, like, ever makes if he recognizes that you're allowed to like defend different players differently, he will.
Why were they sending like 2 or 3 people at Okoro? I was like, what the hell is going on here?
I would-
Isaac Okoro, dude.
I would literally never defend him. Like, I would not even. I would have.
Make him shoot.
Yeah, just don't defend him. That's what both their games in the play-in last year were just like that's what it was. But
I mean, I'm sorry. Okoro had 9, 5, and 5 on 5 shots and was plus 18. Calling him garbage tonight is a little extreme, in my opinion.
yeah, that's fine. I'm happy he had a good game. He's garbage. He's not good, and he's like, we saw at the end of the game, once the Knicks were like, okay, we don't need to defend this guy. We saw it. Like, you play 4 on 5 on offense with him. So like, it's cool that he's good on defense and shit, but it's the Deuce thing. Like, most teams know that Isaac Okoro is not. You just let him shoot. So it's great that he's good on defense.
Schwinn, you know that we have, or I have, and I know you do too. We have a soft spot for those no offense, all defense.
Oh, of course. Of course, I love those guys. But like that's what it is. I've even suggested the Knicks offer Cam Reddish for Isaac Okoro. So but like to
filthy, by the way. I just noticed that. Continue.
You don't want to do that trade?
No. Okay,
you like Cam Reddish now?
No, it's fucking Okoro, man. Have some standards.
Cam Hive.
But no, look, Hartenstein was awesome tonight, and
the Hartenstein game.
I thought he played well actually against Toronto. He just had a really bad little like last 2-3 possessions in the fourth quarter, but I thought he had a good game against Toronto, and it will be nice if he ever makes a floater again. But you know.
That was just one calling card on offense besides like the passing.
Random aside here, I was watching on mute. Why did Tibbs not challenge that? Was that putback not a really obvious 2 points, or what did I miss?
Why does Tibbs never challenge things that he should challenge?
He never challenges the most obvious things that should be challenged.
He likes to save his challenge.
Was that a basket? Like, what did Mike imply?
It looked like a basket. Okay. It looked like a basket. I mean, according to Breen, it was tough call.
It was still on the cylinder a little bit.
Tough call, Clyde. Can't really see that one.
I don't think you could have overturned it.
Yeah. So Tibbs, from what I've gathered, it feels like he doesn't like using a challenge until it's late in the game. So he'll save a challenge even if it's one that you can win, which I think is stupid because if there's any situation where you can gain 2 points or 3 points, you should
always
just do
go
it.
for it.
Yeah, you should always take that challenge because that's the best like possible outcome for a challenge is you net points. So to me, it doesn't matter when it occurs, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. I mean, look at how many close games we played this year, right? Like it shouldn't matter. If you get 2-3 points, do it.
It could be the difference in a win or a loss.
And one thing, the flagrant foul on 3-point shooters thing.
We was just talking about this before we came on. I was like, bro,
ridiculous.
These shits are pissing me off. Like, I didn't catch all of the last game. I caught like glimpses of it on my phone. But like one part that I did catch was Grimes catching a flagrant for, like, I forgot who it was. It was either Gary Trent or Fred VanVleet. They shot a 3, and like, I hate that players are able to like shoot and like basically extend their legs out now. So like their landing area is now like 5 to 10 feet within range of wherever they're shooting from now. Like that's just their landing area, and you can't even step anywhere near that because as soon as they drop, whistle, and then it's always a flagrant now, and it's so stupid.
Yeah, I had this in my head when Schwinn was talking about Randall. I just wanted to give him a shout out for because I thought that the Knicks actually I thought Hartenstein was tired at the end of the game, obviously because he played the last 16 minutes, which is ridiculous. And when Tyrese was talking about how he didn't have to get Randall back in, I get Tibbs wanting to go back to Randall, but why didn't he just give Hartenstein a short breather, let Randall and Obi play for a couple minutes together, and then put Hartenstein back in? Like I feel like he doesn't know that they're allowed to do that. Like he thinks it's baseball or something. Like once you take a guy, or soccer, once you take a starter out or a bench player out, you can't put him back in. I don't know. And
the funny thing was, like, with RJ, he puts him back in with like 2 minutes left in the game. And then RJ immediately gives up 2 fouls to Garland.
Mavericks lose. Our pick gets better, baby.
Great day. I just watched the ending. Great day.
The Denny Advia game.
Disgusting, dude. 15 and 10 from Denny Avdia might feels like a hate crime. Anyway,
Terry, I was just trying to say, so down the stretch, I thought we were actually pretty bad on the defensive glass. There was that one possession where they got like 6 straight possessions. And then Randall pretty much just took it upon himself and was like, dude, screw this. Like, we're not giving up another offensive rebound. And he got a huge rebound. And like one of the things me and Sam have been harping on Randall the most for like the last year is contested rebounds. Like so many of his rebounds in the past were just like, oh, Mitch boxed out and I grabbed the rebound. Or, oh, there's RJ trying to get a rebound. I'm going to go check him and steal the rebound because I'm the rebounding guy. But it really does feel like he's made an effort to not only box out, but to like battle for rebounds. And I've really appreciated that.
I got to say, I just want to mention this real quick. the bench lineup I really like, and that looked really good today and opened up the game in the fourth quarter, early in the fourth, was Brunson, Quick, Grimes. Was it Grimes or was it RJ? It doesn't really matter. One of
It
those
was
guys.
Grimes. It was Grimes.
Grimes, Obi, Hartenstein. You have the ISO shot creator there with Brunson. I think he's now he's like willing to let quickly do more shit, bring the ball up, run point at times.
Mhm.
So there's more flow. I think Brunson actually helps Obi out a little bit. And I think Grimes, I've been saying this for a while. Grimes just plays better when he's on the floor quickly. I don't know what, like, it's probably because they're both really good defensively. I also think that Quickly's good at finding him on the perimeter for 3-point jumpers, but like they just play really well together, and you have to find a way to just get them on the floor more often together, regardless of opponent, regardless of needing to get RJ out there and Brunson out there. Those two got to get more minutes together.
Schwinn, they've played 505 minutes together. And the net rating when Quickly and Grimes are on the court is plus 13.7 per 100.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you are correct, sir.
Yeah, if you want to win ball games, play those guys a lot of minutes together.
Yeah.
Ace Bouchard says the problem I have with Deuce just being a defensive specialist is that I think he might just be a little too small to play that role in the NBA. I mean,
I don't think so, because like there's a bunch of dudes who are just defensive specialists
that are
who
guards.
like Javon Carter. You have like your
and Javon Carter, he's developed his offense over the years too.
Yeah,
So I think
like,
it's like something that a lot of guys just have to grow into in the NBA.
The main issue with Deuce is he's not a good enough player to constantly be changing his hairstyle.
He dyed his hair today, didn't he?
Yeah, he's got to just fucking stick to something and enough. Like, enough.
Chill on my son. He's exploring, the creativity of his hair, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably maybe his girl's telling him to change his hair all the time.
You got the worst son, Schwinn. Sorry, Sam. Like, what the? Dude's
Yo,
bride your son now?
They all my sons. They all my sons. All the young boys on the Knicks.
All right, Antonio Cromartie. Like, damn.
Everybody other than Julius and Brunson are his sons, basically.
I also think that Deuce has that low center of gravity, which makes up for like a lack of height. Like he's really strong, so it's hard to bully him.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like agree in general that like he just has to be better on offense. Like I don't think he'll survive in this league if this is what he is on offense, even with how good he is on defense.
It feels like internally the team is still pretty high on him, because we've seen like Fred Katz has reported in like the last two articles written that they've basically like they're not interested in moving him at all right now, which is, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that's not exactly true. Like if some team's like, hey, we'll give you a first round pick for Deuce McBride, they'll probably be like, okay, cool, like we'll do that. But like I don't think they have interest in moving him to just move him. Like honestly, every report that I'm reading, it really seems to me like the Knicks are aware that they've got an $18 million salary slot that's doing nothing in Evan Fournier and a $14.5 million salary slot that's doing nothing in Derrick Rose. And they have to find a way to turn those into players. And our rotation is already thin as it is. So they need to find a way to do like use these protected picks they have to like make that happen. And not just like you can't subtract players right now that are actually in the rotation to make those moves is where I'm at with this team right now. They've got to find a way to use those protected picks to turn those salary slots into actual players. And, Deuce, like, yeah, of course he has to shoot better to be a consistent player. And like, yes, the size, there are limitations with that. I would say that like the makeup of our team also puts him in a shitty position because like we don't have wings, right? So a lot of times Deuce ends up having to defend a 2 or like sometimes even a 3 or whatever it is. Like there's all these weird matchups where he is oversized. But like, look, if you threw him on, let's say Dallas, right? He'd be fine there because Luka can defend 3s or whatever. They've got Dorian Finney-Smith. Like he wouldn't have to defend out of position. And I think that would help him a lot. So to me, there are limitations with him with his size, but they're not so extreme. And really, I think they look more extreme than they are because of the makeup of the roster that we have right now.
Yeah, the roster definitely not doing a lot of players much favors. Hopefully trade deadline can, make some amends to that.
Bring Gary Trent Jr. home.
Aaron Bender says, big up Jeff for carrying the post game after a sad loss, the Toronto game. And blessing us with Elfrid Payton slander when we needed it most. Never forget. There was Elfrid Payton slander, Jeff?
Dude, 70 minutes by myself where I'm talking. Eventually, Elfrid Payton's gonna come up, man. Like I gotta dig deep in the bag, and Elfrid Payton is very, very much still in the bag. The scars are deep.
I don't blame you. I mean, a whole season of starting Elfrid Payton and 2 playoff games, it can scar someone.
Just yeah, but appreciate the.
It wasn't even. Dude, he was a spot starter for the back half of the season, to the point where he literally just played 7 minutes in the first quarter and then didn't see the court until the third quarter. It made no sense whatsoever, dude. Oh God, I get angry thinking about it because it's just like, why was Derrick Rose playing 16 minutes straight?
How did
because
we not
Tibbs
have?
is a moron.
How did we not have a beat writer who was like, "Hey Tom, you have this guy who's notoriously an injury-prone point guard playing the last 18 minutes of every game ever. What? Don't you see something wrong with that? Like, how is there not someone?"
Ask Stephon Bondi to do that, since he has so much to say about the Giants and Brian Daboll and
dude,
shit.
Dude, we needed Chris. Chris is the beat writer that was promised, man.
That Daboll tweet he had over the weekend was so
he's
stupid.
So pathetic.
It was just so dumb. It's like, what do you? Oh, low bar. Like, first of all, what are they supposed to do? Fucking boo him? Like what do you want them to do? Oh, fuck you, Brian, losing us this playoff game. Like, what? They're not going to do that. What the hell are they supposed to do, man?
Low bar as he quivers in fear of Tom Thibodeau. Like, get a grip, dude.
That's such a good point. Oh my God, Daboll's already cleared Thibodeau's bar. He won a playoff game, and and he's still praising Thibodeau, but we can't throw Daboll a bone.
Yeah, he'll fucking go to the ends of the earth to pray. Oh, look, Tom Thibodeau's playing young guys. You guys are all wrong. It's like, all right, bud. Like, let's first of all, you thought all the young guys sucked, just like Thibodeau did, really. And second of all, don't fool yourself and pretend like Tibbs came to these decisions all on his own. Let's grow.
Yeah, he's actively getting forced to play guys.
Yeah, like we know what happened. We know that there's a reason Cam's not playing, and probably because he fell out with Thibodeau, and Bondi has hinted that he has that story. So it's funny for him to have that story and then also be like, but Tom's great. He's doing a perfect job. He's the greatest manager of young men in the city of New York.
What a show.
Yeah. This is a fun game though. I'm happy the Knicks won. It's great.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're 100% right, by the way, Shwin. I'm looking at the box score right now. This is about as ideal a minutes distribution as we can get under Tibbs. I mean, obviously there's the Obi stuff. Literally, if you gave Obi 3 of Hartenstein's minutes, 5 of Sims's minutes, and 3 of Randall minutes, so it's 35 minutes for Randall, 20 minutes for Sims, 20 minutes for Hartenstein, and 21 minutes for Obi. I think this is about as good a rotation as you're going to get with Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah, and his rotation the last time we played them was really good too. That was obviously the first game after.
We got to play the Cavs in the playoffs. That's the only way to get success.
It's just not going to happen because they're not going to get to the 3 or the 2 seed. Yeah, and the best we're going to do is the 6 seed. So
yeah, we had our chance to catch up and get in that range of them.
I mean, we're only 3 games back.
Dude, we should actually be tied with them right now. It's
really I know. But 3 games back, if they can tread water, I think there's a chance that they can maybe make the noise in the last 15 games or so. Because the last 15 games are pretty.
So they're now 10 and 11 over the last 2 seasons without Mitch, in games Mitch hasn't played. If they can just stay around 500 without Mitch, they'll be fine once he gets back.
Yeah, because he should be back by the time All-Star break's over. So.
Yeah, so they've got to go 2 more weeks basically.
Yeah. He broke his thumb Friday, right? Friday?
Yeah.
No, not Friday. Oh, it was Wednesday.
Wentz.
So yeah, so it's already been like a week or so. So like they say he'd be reevaluated. I don't think he'll come back until like the All-Star break. So
They won't push him to come back before that, right? Because it's
Yep.
just like it just makes sense to wait until after All-Star because you're basically giving him then like
Another
4.5 weeks. Yeah, 4.5 weeks
Yeah.
to get ready. So yeah,
and then he won't have a minutes restriction either. So like yeah.
it's gonna be great the first 3 games when he gets back and he's like can't fucking move after 2 minutes.
He's gonna be like out of breath.
Just
after, like,
fucking
5
dying
minutes.
at half court.
I don't want to be like the consistent Debbie Downer of the show, but like Schwinn, if you look at our 11 games before the All-Star break, I don't see 5 wins. I mean,
Yeah, we were talking about this with Harry.
I disagree with this. I'll do it right now. Okay.
please do.
I think today was a 50-50 game to me. I think I even like just I told Stacey on our pod, I was like, because he was doing the same fucking Debbie Downer shit, and he's like, "Oh, we're not gonna win any basketball games." And I'm like,
we'll win basketball
like,
games.
First of all,
it's
it's the NBA regular season. If you can't win basketball games, you're probably like your coach should be fired. Probably like
Or you're the Rockets.
it's the NBA regular season. You can always find a way to win basketball games.
Unless you were Tom Thibodeau's Knicks.
Yeah, but
which
hey, look,
they proved last year. 3-17. There was a stretch. 3-17.
But that was because he was doing stupid shit. Luckily, we like
and he keeps doing
basically-
stupid shit this year too.
He is, but we actually don't have like enough bad players for him to justify playing over good players right now. So that helps him out a lot. Okay, we're gonna lose to the Celtics. We're gonna lose to the Nets.
But this is always an automatic
loss.
loss.
So that's 0-2, right?
Mhm.
We beat the Lakers. We
but
beat
LeBron
the
breaks
Heat.
the record.
Yeah, we beat the Heat. We beat the Clippers. That's 3-2.
Whoa!
I think we lose to the 76ers. That's 3-3. We beat the Magic 4-3. We lose to the 76ers again, 4-4. We beat the Jazz. We lose to the Nets. We beat the Hawks.
That's the All-Star
That's
break.
it.
That's 6-5.
That's 6-5.
I don't see what's like.
They beat the Nets one. They beat the Nets one too. Kyrie sucks. Kyrie sucks at home.
Okay, so
Dog,
we need
Nets win.
you know
games
KD's
are
gonna come
auto-
back for
are
that game.
chalk.
KD like
No, he's not.
lives to destroy us.
He's not coming back for that game. It's gonna be too early.
Did he say that?
Yeah, he's getting reevaluated in a week.
He will visit some
Alright,
like
good.
magical priest and like get healed so he can play the Knicks.
Rich
just in
Kleiman
time.
is gonna like fucking.
It's
you know,
always the Knicks. Like, watch, AD's gonna come back just in time for the Knicks game. The Celtics rested all their players today so they can come back on Thursday.
Oh,
and
they
whoop
said
our
two.
ass.
They said 2 more weeks. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Okay, look,
KD's not playing that game.
like this. We just talked about this. Mitch is really good. Don't get me wrong. I reject the idea that he's so good that without him, we should be quivering in fear of like any stretch of any schedule. Like this team is good. Brunson played like dog shit tonight, and we beat a full strength Cavs team. You know, like
Cavs suck against us.
yeah, like we have a good team. You know, there are RJ didn't have a good game either. Grimes didn't particularly shoot that well. Great on defense, but he didn't shoot that well. But like we can overcome this shit because we have multiple good players. Randall is an all-star.
They have 2 All-Stars. They have
Yeah.
2 All-Stars. You should be able to win in the stretch.
Yes, thank you. That's I've been saying this. Like I said this like when he went down.
Should. That's the key word
But-
there.
but-
Okay,
that's
but
the thing.
It's a talent
if
thing.
you-
At this point, it's a talent thing.
Yeah, and if you have like let's say Brunson doesn't make all-star, but Randall does. Fine, you have one all-star, you have one guy that
Should be an
be there.
All-Star.
whatever is
He's
like right
he's an
there.
injury replacement. He's literally
Yeah.
going to be the injury replacement.
Right. So you have one sure all-star, one guy that could be there, whatever. You have 4 really good, to some extent, rotation pieces.
They're also
after
making a good trade. They're also making a good trade. Like we know
Yeah.
this before because the
I
deadline
think
is like the-
I don't think they're going to do it. I really would like them to trade for Gary Trent Jr. I think he'd be
I
valuable.
would not be surprised. I think probably do go like the Grayson Allen thing, but like, yeah,
Schwinn, can I get under 4.5 plus 150?
I am not a bookie, and but you know what? Check out drafting sports code TBPN.
I don't think I can get it. I think I need to visit Schwinn Sportsbook. You know.
No, I'll I know a guy. His name is Teddy KGB. You can he's always got a good action at his table. So
You know that I already put him out of business. So.
oh, you made a run. You made a
Yeah,
run.
yeah.
Teddy's?
I went for it.
Tyrese, I think these next comments, you're really gonna like these next comments from some of these people in the comments. Hawkeye420 says, I'm at the point where I'd rather see them close with IQ instead of RJ, especially this season. Why can't he string multiple good games together, especially since his defense is putrid now? He also says Tyrese's RJ hating propaganda might have finally gotten to me.
Okay, he's not even hating it. It's just like, it's just me being honest.
IQ's a better player. That's not hate. That's just
like I've said, IQ's better for the last 2 years. I told you he's better. He's better. Like the fact that IQ went in the lineup and basically gave you RJ production at this slightly more efficient and with better defense. The lineup didn't drop off, and the reason why the lineup failed is because they missed Brunson as well. Like at this point, like I think the gap between IQ and RJ is starting to become noticeable. It was already there, but like I think it's starting to become noticeable, and the
especially
way
on defense.
The way IQ's playing defense and the fact that his offenses are dropping off nearly as bad as we thought it might with well, I don't think anybody thought it would drop off, but like the fact that his offense is still coming together the way it is, like if you gave IQ RJ's minutes, did we not think that he'd probably be like 18 point per game right now?
I mean, we saw it just like when RJ was out.
I actually don't think he would, but that's not because he can't. It's because
he probably do worse on
his role would be different.
He just does different things. Like the team is just different when he's out there. He'll have games, right, where he scores 20, 25 points or something, but he's also going to have games where he has 7 assists or he just plays really, really good defense and only takes like 3 shots. Like he's again, like he's going to find ways to help you win the ball game, whether he's scoring or not. The issue RJ has right now is he doesn't
do that unless he's scoring. And when he's scoring, and even still, like when he's scoring, he's not like as good of a passer as he should be. He's not as good of a defender as he should be.
And today was actually really annoying in the sense like I thought he played really well in the first half. I know he got blocked a couple of times, but both the times he got blocked, first of all, Brunson basically like gave him a grenade with like 7 seconds left and was like, "Sorry, dude, my bad. I lost track of time." But like he actually made a few really good passes in the first half. He hit Grimes on one on the baseline through absolute dime. Grimes missed a shot, but like he was passing well. And then in the third quarter, he went into this stretch where he's like, it's like, dude, I want to let you know. Yeah, well, it's also like, I want to let you in on a secret. You ISOing on Jared Allen is not a mismatch, bro. It's not. It actually, it is a mismatch for them. Like you're not mismatch hunting Jared Allen. Like, yeah, and even Julius realized that today. Julius sometimes likes to pretend that he can ISO on guys that he shouldn't be ISOing on, and he tried Jared Allen like twice and was like, you know what? I'm not going to do this anymore, actually. I'm going to try to only abuse Evan Mobley. But, like, yeah, RJ's right now he's not impacting the game unless he's scoring well. And he's not as good a scorer as Brunson. He's not as good a scorer as Randall. In my opinion, when a third option on any really good team has to give you value aside from scoring. And, quite frankly, RJ is not doing that at a high enough level right now. So whether that is, Jeff, we talked about this on Twitter, I think, after the last game, but it's like you can be bad on defense or you can be bad at rebounding. You cannot be both. It cannot be both. You have to be one or the other. Right now, he's doing both. He's being bad at both. He's got to pick one or the other. And the other thing is, I've been saying this since last year, he needs to be a 4 or 5 assist guy. Because the attention he draws when he drives, you're literally talking about making simple passes to corner shooters. That's like that's all he needs to do to become a 4 or 5 assist wing guy. And if he does that, you know what else is going to happen? His efficiency, which by the way, his efficiency has improved. I think people are that 5-game stretch where he just absolutely sucked is actually nuking his season's efficiency.
Yeah, it's like a one true shooting swing. Like it's actually kind of dumb.
It's crazy, but like he's actually made a pretty big improvement as a scorer. So like this isn't me feeling that he's not improved, but like he's got to get back to something close to his second year's defense. If he does that with the scoring gains,
or even the beginning of his third year,
if he does that with the scoring gains,
New Orleans game,
if he does that with the scoring gains he's made, like I think the entire conversation around him is totally different. And like, do I still think Quickly would be better than him? I think probably yes, but it's a much different conversation then, and it'd be a much more enjoyable conversation. But I do think at times, like, and I'm guilty of this too. He's 22, like he's not that old, so he's not old at all actually. So like, it's one of those
I'm
things where it's
older
like,
than him. Oh
yeah,
my god.
it's
You're
one of those
washed.
yeah, it's one of those things where it's like you want him to be better right now because that's kind of like when you draft somebody third overall, you're hoping they're like an all-star, right, by year 3 or 4.
Especially when you see
Yeah.
what his peers are doing too.
Right. But like he's gotten better, and I think there's still like a level there for him to improve on both ends. He's not a finished product. We've seen him play good defense, for a long, like an entire season. So it's in there in him. He's just got to get back to it. And yeah, I mean, offensively, like I think sometimes people feel like he's stagnated so much because he's not hitting a bunch of off the dribble jumpers at all. But you don't need to be aesthetically pleasing to be good on offense.
Yeah.
So I don't really care about that much.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of has a choice individually, and the team, like the franchise and he, have to be in lockstep. I saw a really cool interview with the Thunder's head coach, another last name that I would just butcher if I tried.
Mark Dagnall.
Yeah, there you go. And he just talked about how basically like the players, the front office, and his coaching staff are all operating as one in terms of like individual goals and what they want the team to focus on. And it really feels like the Knicks don't have that. Like, obviously, Tibbs has what he wants, but like, as long as RJ's starting, I feel like somebody has to sit RJ down and be like, "You're the third option." So, like Schwinn said, you have to be a plus defender. You have to be knocking down threes off the dribble or off the catch, and he is. Like, that's one of the role player things that he's improved at the most. He's a really reliable catch and shoot shooter right now. In fact, I would argue that given his propensity to take them, he's the most reliable catch and shoot 3-point shooter on the team because Grimes just doesn't do it enough.
He also needs to take more. He needs to start taking more.
RJ does?
Yeah.
But does he need to start taking more because he's not firing or because he's not getting the kick out enough? Because I can't remember him passing on nearly as many on like a scale standpoint. I don't think he's like catching and pumping and driving nearly as much as like Grimes does.
I agree, but at the same time, I think that he's like I want to see him around like 500 for
Okay.
3 points.
That's fair. But my point still remains that like when you're the third option, you have to have the role player skills. You have to have consistently good defense. And the team kind of needs to be like, that's who you are on this team right now. And this raises your overall individual ceiling. It's in your best interest to improve in this area. And if he's just going to keep taking this path where like clearly scoring is the most important thing, why isn't he just the sixth man? Like, think about what everybody always said about
because you're it's just not going to happen. Like,
because I was also mentioning like he's the trade chip. Like,
yeah. He's a trade chip. He's also like he's the third overall pick. He's the highest pick since Ewing. He's the first guy they extended in like 5 billion years.
Yeah, like you bench him, you're essentially saying that like you don't buy him at all.
Yeah, and also like I just think it's whatever we look. It's fine to be like you got to bench him because it's the right thing to do. Basketball wise, the team would benefit from it. Blah blah blah. I totally get all that, but like there's also like a team dynamic to manage here. If you bench RJ, I promise you, if you bench RJ, he is checked the fuck out. He is checking the fuck out, and you're gonna get all kinds of shitty leaks coming out. Like you can't do it. You just can't do it. So but
isn't he already? Couldn't you make the argument that since we know what he's capable of defensively, we've seen it. Isn't he arguably kind of checked out right now defensively?
I don't think he's checked out. I don't think he's checked out. I think he needs a coach. Like the thing with him in his second year, right? Like when he fucked up, you would see Tibbs take a timeout and fucking berate him, like absolutely light into him. I haven't seen Tibbs do that to RJ since like the second half of last year or something.
I think it's like you can't really do that to RJ anymore because RJ, he has the bag. He's still like one of the pillars of the franchise. Like it's nice when like year 2 you can yell at the dude, but like
he doesn't do it too quickly now either. It's like these guys earned the Tibbs badge. It's like he's like, okay, like no, I don't need to yell at you anymore. I'm moving on to new targets like Hartenstein, Deuce, Sims, fucking Grimes. Anytime he commits a foul.
Yeah, like I think at this point, I would argue against him not being checked out. I think he's checked out. I think he kind of knows that like Brunson's here, Randall's here, and he already was in trade rumors last year, and now they have like the pieces to justify making the move they were probably going to do last year. I would be checked out too. Because I'm like, okay.
I guess I didn't even mean like move him to the bench, but it's just funny to me because like all anyone has ever said about Quickly is like, I like Quickly in his role. Like everyone knows that quote. And the whole idea of Quickly is that he's just like this microwave scorer and that's all a six-man is. But like if you actually think about it from a profile standpoint, RJ is like the microwave scorer we have. Like he's the one whose scoring is by far his best skill set and then he's kind of lacking everywhere else. Quickly is the opposite. So that's why I guess that's sort of what I meant.
Yeah, and I totally get that. But like, and I don't think RJ's checked out. I just think he's to me the perfect example of a guy who this is not me. I'm not going to do like the get rid of Tibbs thing, but like I do think he really needs a coach that's going to challenge him. And I don't know that Tibbs is, I don't see Tibbs doing that right now. Like with him, like it's the Randall thing, right? Like last year we're like, why the fuck isn't Tibbs like getting on Randall ever? But like with certain guys, I mean, once he trusts you, it's kind of like he just implicitly trusts you. So even when you're doing stupid shit, he's just like, whatever, like I'll just yell at Hartenstein instead and RJ will figure it out at some point. It's just like that's what it is. But it's a dangerous game you're playing because he's 22. Like, look, he's 3 or 4 years right now from his prime. So he's still like very much a developing player, but you need to make sure you're pushing him in the right direction. And look, you can't just blame Tibbs for this because ultimately like the development of a player falls on the player mostly, but like sometimes you need to be pushed and coaxed in the right direction. And I do worry a bit defensively and with the passing and stuff that Tibbs is maybe not the right guy for RJ. And so like maybe look, I think end of the day, at some point, they're gonna. I don't think Randall and RJ are part of the next competitive contending Knicks team. I think one of those guys will be moved at some point. And to be quite honest, like, yes, I know Randall's been basically like fucking Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde on this team. But the level he's playing at right now and the level RJ is playing at right now, and yes, I know RJ is younger and blah, 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 but like you can't, if you had to pick right now, you would pick sticking with Randall. So like
he's just the more talented player. Like that's really it. And this front office is not going to punt on talent. They're never going to punt on talent.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing working for RJ is like he is a wing. He's the only wing in the rotation right now because Grimes is like a wing. Grimes is like, let's just say that when him and Donovan Mitchell were standing next to each other, I was like, are you guys the same height? Is that what's happening here?
All right, let's see what other comments we got. So Jordan Bob asked, how are we going to break the Celtics defense on Thursday?
We're not.
Pray.
To be fair, their defense hasn't been they're just the fucking best offense in the league right now.
Yeah, like they're going to bomb from three. Like we basically have to defend the 3-point line, and the one thing this team has been able to do is defend the 3-point line.
Last time we played them at MSG, didn't they like absolutely like annihilate us from three?
They scored 133. Sam Hauser is not shooting like 98%.
Yeah, he's absolutely
he's not shooting 98% from three now. But like, I will say this: if you get the version of Julius you saw tonight, and forget the shooting. Like he's not going to hit 8 threes every night, but like I think he'll be up for that matchup at least.
Yeah,
dust off Fournier for a classic, 40 piece.
He's situational for this one game.
Oh, not to mention he had a kid, so that's strength.
Yeah, congrats to Evan.
Yep.
The Fred VanVleet boost, after being a father, magically regain your shooting touch.
Dude, his Fred VanVleet's boost is playing the Knicks. God, I forget who said it, but somebody was like, he scored 28 points or more 10 times this season, and he did it all 4 times against the Knicks.
And then he did it once against the Bucks too, I think, or twice versus the Bucks.
He's weird.
Yeah, so he only goes off versus the Knicks and the Bucks.
He needs to just get traded. Can the Raptors are so annoying. Can they just start trading their guys? Like, we all know where this is going.
Yeah, what are we gonna do? Another year of mediocrity? Like, you can't blame Tampa Bay this time. Like last time they had this type of season, they blamed like Tampa and all the bad vibes that it had. Like, no, you're in Toronto now. There's none of that BS anymore.
You're at best of 6 feet. Like, let it go.
Hawkeye 420 says Thibs finally brought back the Deuce IQ and Grimes lineup, and they killed the Cavs momentum. Yes, definitely. I noticed that. It's been a while, I think, since we've seen them all share the court together, right?
Yep.
Has it been?
Yeah, it's the dumbest thing. Like they literally keyed off our 8-game winning streak in some ways, right? Like, it's just so weird that he went away from that entirely. And I hope that it's not just because they played the Cavs tonight, but who the hell knows? Like, he's so weird all the time. So, but like, yeah, those three together again. Yes, I know Deuce has to make shots and Grimes has to up his usage, but like, I don't really care. Like, those three guys together, just whatever it is, they lock teams up and it works. So yeah.
Amazing.
And this is the thing about Obi, and like, it's not about bringing like being negative or like, oh, fire Tibbs, like Shmoon was saying, but like,
no, we should
there's
fire him.
just a different vibe when Obi's on the floor. That was the best stretches of the game. Like, as good as Randall was, there's a reason that, and I'm not saying that Obi's better than Randall, but from a team basketball perspective and what it does for like the pace and the energy and just like the vibe in the arena, like the best minutes of the game for the Knicks were those short stretches that Obi was on the court. They just were like, there was just a pep in the step of all the players. Every miss, they were getting the rebound. IQ was racing the ball up the court. They were looking to like.
They haven't run like that in a while. Like, they have not pushed. And actually, I will say, like, to credit Tibbs, after that, what was it? Was it that Washington game where they had like 10 assists or something gross like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Washington.
Like the last 3 games, yes, the defense has been atrocious until tonight, but they've played with a lot more pace. They've moved the ball better. And I am curious. I think this might be worth investigation. Like, there might be something too. Like, he doesn't, like, they don't push the pace when Mitch is playing at all. That might be like just a thing to consider.
Trying to spare Mitch. He's gasping.
Mitch is like fucking like hyperventilating on the floor.
Yep. I mean, that's another good call by you, Schwinn. Just, I mean, I have the advanced players page up, and he's last on the team in individual pace. The Knicks, when he plays, run 96.84. That's their pace number. So I think
they turn into like they just they become like an ode to the 90s NBA.
Right. With Obi on the court, it goes up to 102. He's the highest of anybody in the rotation.
Yeah.
So yeah, good call by you.
Zan Rosen says Hartenstein said on that last play, it's kind of what I came here for. I know myself, I'm not playing as good as I'm supposed to be playing.
Oh, buddy, we're shipping you back.
I'm kind of letting the fans down, the city down a little bit, but I'm going to keep getting better because I know I can do it.
Yeah, that's a really cool quote. That's a really cool quote. Good for him taking.
I don't give a shit.
Tyrese is just saying this because he's white. If he was,
and I know I don't like. I want a backwards hat kind of guy.
No, look, I have some sympathy for him. He said that like to start the year, he's had some Achilles issue, right? So that might be part of it.
Definitely didn't help playing like 40 minutes on opening night.
Yeah, and we know Tibbs has like. Look, I actually don't kill Tibbs much for the Hartenstein stuff. Like, at the end of the day, he signed with this team. This is what Tibbs wants from his centers. It's up to him to adapt to some degree. And like, yeah, it sucks that Tibbs doesn't use his passing at all. But like, you're a center. I need you to defensive rebound. I need you to be aware and active defensively, protecting the rim. And like, you just have to do those things, and you've got to adjust offensively to what Tibbs wants you to do. But like, yeah, look, I've killed a guy a ton. It would be really cool if he turned it around. It would be really fucking useful for us too, because the backup center minutes for like the 50th year in a row have been a problem. So if he can turn it around, that'd be huge. And it's like I would prefer not to have to like trade him and then figure out backup center again at some point, or hope that Sims can progress to the level where where he's dependable every single night as a backup center. So yeah, I mean, look, it's fine. We'll see what happens. I don't think they're gonna end up trading him, just because he's CAA, like.
He's La Familia.
Yeah, he's part of the family.
But is he sneaky athletic?
What's up? Is he sneaky athletic?
He showed off some of that sneaky athleticism tonight. 2 putbacks, one of them didn't count, but yeah.
It should have counted.
Yeah, they both should have counted. And I mean, look, it really can't be said enough. His defense on the stretch, I mean, he was awesome. He was really, really awesome tonight.
If he could do that on a nightly basis, I mean, he kind of like solidifies that backup center.
If he could do that on a nightly basis, our center rotation is fucking stacked. Like, we're set if he did that on a nightly basis. Between him and Mitch, we'd be fucking golden.
Yeah, and he could actually buy guys like some minutes because like
if Tibbs let him pass, dude. If Tibbs just let him be an offensive hub out of the high post and let him pass, we would literally be there'd be so much less problems with Hartenstein because his benefits would be so much clearer, dude. It's like Prez on like the Hartenstein hill, and I'm like working my way up the base. I've fallen down, but like there's clearly like a good player there that's just being misutilized, and part of it is him, but part of it is also Tibbs. And it's just like if he's able to just do the simple shit, like while being able to use his skill set, he would be so much better. Yep.
All right. I think this is where we're going to end things off. I mean, the next game is against the Celtics. I mean, we kind of already talked about a little bit of a preview going into that game. Celtics probably going to beat the shit out of us. We're going to their house, and they're really damn good.
And Sam, like we talked about today in our messages, they just randomly rested everybody today so that they're fully healthy against. Why does everybody hate the Knicks?
It's just they got something to prove. I don't know.
It's like the league, like it's like Riley and the commissioner like paid him off to get Miami ahead of us in the 60. I don't know why didn't they want to beat the Heat? Shouldn't they want the Knicks to pass the Heat? I don't know.
Not to mention they played the Heat in the conference finals last year.
Right. Like they're just punting that
very,
game.
very odd they punted that game. Very
National
odd.
TV, dude. You know what it is.
But aren't the Celtics pretty comfortably number 1 seed at this point?
Yeah, but like,
I just don't think they care. And good for them, because Jason Tatum had a good game for my fantasy team. So good job.
All right. I think we're going to end things off here. Join us back after the game on Thursday versus the Celtics. Hopefully the Knicks can keep up their winning ways, their recent winning ways. That game is at 7:30 on TNT, so no MSG broadcast there. We gotta listen to the TNT guys berate our team once again. But yeah, everything Strickland related is in the description. We got links to the site, merch, Patreon, and Twitter. All great ways to support us. We are also on Instagram at thestrick.land. Another great way to keep up with all your Strickland content, especially if you're not on Twitter, which is where most of the other content is. But yeah, that is all from us. Catch you guys on Thursday and have a good night.